Hey, Andrea, we had a flashback to my 80s last time with the Hall Notes theme song for Private Eyes. This time we get Who Can It Be Now? Of course, it's the remake, Colin Hay singing it by himself. But are you ready to talk Mystery 101, the pilot?
I guess.
We do know this is the most popular, by far, mystery. And we've had a lot of people say we should do it, so we're about to do it.
They will regret saying that.
Well, this is Eric,
This is Andrea.
and this is Hallmark Mysteries
And
and
more.
more.
Can I just say I really like the background that you have? It looks like you are actually in jail because you cannot see.
Yeah, for the people who are listening,
Really great. Travis and Amy, nope, it's just Eric in jail.
Travis and Amy are there behind me. Unfortunately, my noggin is blocking them.
Oh, it's so good.
So I have to say, I've talked to a few people, and there is like a something going on at Hallmark. It appears that is slowing down. Like we've seen it and we've said it, but I'm getting a little confirmation from some people that it's definitely a mandate that's going out that mysteries are like ones that were approved may not be happening. Makes me wonder about Curious Caterer. That was supposed to be two of them, happening in July, didn't happen. I I don't know what this means. They rebrand the network and decide introduce us to a whole bunch in the next 9 months and then just hit the brakes.
I mean, I'm sure it's just all about money. And so, yeah, who knows? That's why I said it's hard to do the podcast when there's no new content.
It,
So that's a struggle.
we do have on June 5th, we do have the new Mystery Island, which I know you are.
It's a struggle. This is a
I know
struggle
you
out
are
here for
excited
me.
about. And if we're getting the
Struggle.
new mystery, why that one?
I mean, all year, all the new mysteries have been, in my opinion, awful. So, yeah,
The
not great.
It has me wondering though, like we saw that a haunted harmony was being at least, well, from what we can gather, 2 to 3 haunted harmonies based on the production schedule were being produced. Makes me wonder, did they do that many, or did they, have it reserved and then cut back and only did one? We don't even know actually they did one for that matter. I mean, we were assuming they did because we saw some things, but I don't know. I don't know. I agree with you. It just really is disheartening.
I mean, yeah, because we'll have Christmas in July. In July, probably they'll release maybe a couple movies, and then I'm sure I don't remember if they had just one on the Hallmark Plus last winter, but they'll probably throw that into the lineup. So again, they're just going to keep saving money. And then we'll have what, August and September. I
And
doubt they're going to put anything in October based on them not putting anything out for the
well,
most part.
Mistletoe Murders is supposed to be coming out as on the network versus Plus this year, and
They're going to do
air.
season two,
They're
or are
gonna
they
do
putting
both. They're
season?
gonna put both
Okay.
on the network. So that's
So that will be October probably, season
and
one,
if they depending, it'll be interesting to see if they do them as the split episodes like they did on Plus, or will they do them as full
probably. Because then they would
movies?
have to reshoot, and that's again going to cost money, and I don't think they want to do that.
I don't know. Or
So
just stick it together with a weird
no, I'm sure they'll
cut.
just do
So
the one episode drop, and then they'll probably space it out. So that would again be, if you're going to drop that, all the way potentially starting in September with that, and so we'll get no new mysteries. I don't think at all. I think after this Mystery Island, I think we're done for the year. Would be my
three,
guess.
three for the
I
year.
saw, yeah. So that's why I said, I'm like, it makes it hard to do the podcast because we're
It
reviewing
does.
movies that aired in before even 2020 at this point.
That's a
This one
gut
is.
punch. That is a total gut punch. Well,
So,
let's head to Garrison and talk
talk
about
mystery.
Travis and Amy.
All right. So, a college professor teaching whodunit fiction gets involved in the police investigation of the theft of a mega dollar research plant, the death of a student, disappearance of another, and an alleged suicide. Man, these descriptions are very solid. That was it.
Now, was that Hallmark or IMDb?
Oh, IMDb.
Okay.
I because Hallmark to like look through all the old ones. That's a process that I don't take. But okay. So I'm sorry to everyone in advance. 2 out of 5. That's my rating. I don't
Two.
like this one. So
That's
boring.
like,
Like, yeah, it's not good. I did not like this when it first aired in 2019. This movie in particular. Um, it's still just an okay. I have not went and revisited the pilot of this series just because it's not my favorite series for me. Like at all. This is probably landing in the middle for me. I mean, maybe middle to lower half at this point with some of the newer ones we had last year. So it's not one that I love. And it's a darker filmed movie. It's got a darker feel to it compared to some of the other Hallmark mysteries. This one I thought was boring. I know for me they do get better as it went on, I think. I'm going to say caveat because again, I have not revisited many of these because even when it's on, it's not one that I usually will throw on and watch. It's not a garage sale for me. It's not an Aurora for me for that matter. This would fall underneath, which I know for many that's not going to be the case. I mean, for obviously this won our mystery bracket challenge. But there's just a lot of talking between Travis and Amy, and there's not a lot of action. Like I like mine, what we just reviewed with Private Eyes, they kept things moving. They had side stories. We talked about the daughter, we had the father. Like Jill's father is barely in this one. And then there's not much else going on. Like I prefer more action with it, not as much just long dialogue scenes, which
so you're
a lot of
saying
it.
watching Bud and Claire doing some computer research was not interesting for you?
No. And this one, some of the acting for me in this one felt very forced. Like it felt like they were kind of reading from a script. It did not feel bought
Huh.
into the characters. Like, and that's almost everyone as a whole. There was just a couple who I was like, yep, this is great. But some of them across the board, I felt it was too forced of a presentation. I did enjoy how they filmed the different college professors and how they sat down and they went through the suspect. That was great. I also liked the music score in this one overall. Like I thought that they placed it well when she was taken away in the car. Like they had a good score underneath that. They have good music throughout, but that was well placed. So I liked those two aspects of this movie, but the rest of it, again, it's not my favorite. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Eric,
Well,
hopefully you like it because we're going to get hate mail, as I said.
well, we've talked about it. It is not my favorite. Sorry, I was looking up for the music. I don't know who the actual music is. It's not my favorite series. I'll flat out say, but I'm not a two. I'll put this as a 3.5. I think I found it interesting, and I'm not sure I want you to, if you have to throw out names or not. But my first note was after watching Christopher Polaha for 5 minutes, I was instantly reminded that he is the best actor on Hallmark. So I saw definitely, I don't know when you said there were some bright spots, if you thought he was it or not. I won't make you go on record either way with that one because I don't want people flying to Minnesota and hunting you down in case it goes one direction, which
I did say
would happen.
there was a couple performances that I enjoyed.
But he, like I said, he
Send me a DM and I'll tell you. I'll tell
in
you
my
in DMs.
opinion, he was fantastic. I thought he's a really good actor. The other thing is, I've probably seen this episode, I don't know, 8, 10 times. I don't know how I did not remember Rex goes over the cliff at the beginning. Because when that happened, I'm like, whoa. I don't know. Like I say, I have seen this so many damn times. To be surprised that that happened, I was surprised at myself. I thought Amy came out of the gates not particularly likable. And I thought she was just way too pushy. And I know that's sort of the thing that the little snoop has, the amateur sleuth has, where they put their nose where they're not supposed to be. But I thought her like going into the crime scene and just the way she inserted herself pretty rudely. I was like, Amy, not loving that, not loving that. But the thing I really enjoyed the scene where they're in Rex's dorm room or apartment, whatever it was, and they're searching it, and Amy tries to say something, and Travis like, you're just actually she wasn't even a consultant, she was just a liaison at that point. Like, you're just a liaison, be quiet, sit there. And she drops the, hey, have you ever heard of Whose Body by Dorothy L. Sayers? And tells a story about basically the amateur sleuth who works with the detective and solves them all. And the detective, though, gets all the credit. And it's kind of just was a great moment that lightened it up, and it just kind of flipped the switch in him. And from that point on, it wasn't adversarial. And we've talked about it. I don't ever enjoy that adversarial. I love when they get past it. So I really like the fact we had a half episode of them being that way, and then from that point on they were a team. And I like, that's when I think mysteries are the best, is when the detective and the sleuth are a team. I find it so much more enjoyable than when they're, butting heads. So, and I thought it was well written. I liked the overall mystery. We can do total spoilers of this one too, because if someone has not seen this at this point, shame on them. All right, it's on a marathon like every third week of the month. But I thought it was well written. I liked the fact it did have the subplot. The grade selling, or not the grade selling, the exam selling and things like that. It kept me engaged, and I thought for a first episode, it left me with a spot where I want to see more. Now, granted, I've seen them obviously multiple times, but it left me wanting to see more.
Yeah. Well, Mystery Minute. I did remember the killer as soon as he was on
Oh yeah,
screen. They also didn't give us many options, as I don't think Mystery 101 usually does. So it was pretty easy. And again, it's like, are you invested enough to keep watching? Like for me, I just remember I'm like, how much is left of this movie? Oh my gosh, we're only halfway. Like that's kind of how I watched this one, because I was watching and again multitasking because I'm solo parenting all weekend while my husband's coaching basketball in another state, and so I'm like, this is just dragging on. I just want to watch My Secret Lives of the Mormon Wives, that show. Give me something light, easy breezy right now.
I've never
So
seen it, but I'm imagining what it must be. So,
it's
but
hilarious. Well, it's actually, it's not hilarious. It's at times it's funny. I don't think it's going to be your cup of tea. We'll just throw that out there, Eric. But yeah, so the mystery was fine. It was fine.
I agree with you. I don't think Mystery 101s are ever about the, you know, totally solving the mystery. Like you said, pretty much you know what the formula is and you can solve it. And it's more about the storytelling and taking you through the investigating, which we discussed, the other day. You like the action and keep it moving. You like the character part, and I do like the investigation part. So probably why I give it a little, higher score than you do is I like the fact that they do show the mystery. And as I said, I like the fact they had the little sub one in there, but like you said, I never thought that the girl was going to be the killer. Oh yeah, she's selling exams. It was fun that they, unraveled that. Then there was a couple murder. Like usually you don't get two murders in a mystery, so brought it back together. And then I know it's the formula for 101, but it was a little disappointing to me that Amy essentially solved the entire case, right? Like Claire went through the footage, the video footage, and why did she not bring attention that they had a fight? Eldon and Morales had the fight in the lab. It seems like that would have been pretty important stuff. Or after they arrested Morales, like Travis should have been interrogating her, finding out that she had that fight. So it just seemed like, and I know it's the formula, it's the cozy, and it's what you want. You have to put it away, but it kind of a disappointment. I like it when the detective, it's more of that team effort than really the snoop who solves it all.
Well, romance. I think that you can just feel their chemistry. And again, just as private eyes, when I'm saying chemistry, I'm not necessarily, I guess, right now we're talking about romance, but the Private Eyes, I'm just saying chemistry, like you can feel them. And I feel like this is the same for Travis and Amy. It's not like smoking hot chemistry. It's just like they work together.
All right.
They have that type of chemistry. Because the romance, obviously, I think for anything when the people are first being introduced, it has to slowly build up, unless there's just like the smoking hot. You can tell there's just that tension there, which again, I think Gourmet Detective had, but not most don't have that right from the start. They have a little bit of build up, and I think this is the same for Travis and Amy. You can feel that they have that chemistry. I don't need them together at this point. I think this would be, having watched this first one, I think that this would have been one that's fine as a friendship as well. Because I don't feel like, and that's again probably controversial. It's going to be
Oh yeah.
female. I'm sorry. But like I would have been fine with them just being friends as well. Like I don't need them together. And again, send all the hate mail to Eric from my opinions. Sorry.
I thought there was the tension. Like there was a time when she turns her face and he's like close looking at her. There's a couple of those moments at the very end when they're in the class and, her dad who's teaching her class scolds them for talking at the back of the class like two high school, kids who are flirting with each other. So I thought there was a little more of the that actual tension. But I agree with you. Mostly at this point, what we got was two actors who work really well together. And you can tell that that's going to make for a good series. Like you say, whether it goes romantic or not, we get it with Nikki and Andrew, like just people who work well together. And heck, we get it with Victor and Alison Sweeney, who I never particularly liked. Once again, I get some hate mail coming at me now. I never really liked Mike and thought there was great chemistry with those two. And I think with Victor, like they just are more seamless. So, we don't have any actual romance, but we do have, I think, a foundation of chemistry.
Well, character corner. I picked Claire Tate because she's played by Sarah Dugdale,
I wonder what
who
she's been in.
is Lizzie in Virgin River.
What?
Now this also, and
Wait,
she also played
someone's in Virgin
Sarah
River?
She also played Sarah Chen in Season's Greetings from Cherry Lane. Now I will say the one thing, like I didn't realize that was the same person until again I rewatched because she played in 4 of these movies. But in Virgin River, she plays like I don't know, 20-year-old. And so then to have her be like in this professional role where she's probably, I guess, maybe mid-20s. But I think maybe she came into Virgin River as a teenager. And so it was just like a mind trip because I'm like, wait, Virgin River, this was filmed actually after she'd already filmed this. And she was supposed to be in her, mid to late 20s in this. And then now we're going back to teenage years. And so that's like a little trippy. But overall, I thought she was great. Like I did not recall her being this side role or this character in these movies. So pleasant surprise. I personally enjoy her as an actress. So I would like to see her in more Hallmark movies.
Andrea, I'm going to do you a favor and I'm going to take all the heat off you.
Uh-oh.
Mine is I've just never really liked Graham Winslow. That's
what?
I don't know what there is about his character.
What? You don't like Graham?
Never have liked Graham. Nope. So I know we usually talk about like standout performance and it's like always a positive thing. And like I say, I'm taking the heat off you. But
I love Graham, so that's funny.
Everyone loves Graham.
He is someone who I did think acted well in this one, but that's funny.
He's like I'm on the island here, and like I say, while you were getting it for the series, I'm going to be now getting it all.
I'm just gonna have all these reviews now.
There's just something I don't know what
they hate Mystery 101.
He's been in other things, and I totally like him. So it's not him as the actor; it's just something about the character.
Oh, I love Graham.
So
that's funny. Was that your character then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, trivia. I'm going to stay in my lane with Sarah Dugdale. So, fun fact about her. She took flying lessons to achieve her private pilot's license. Ooh. She's also fluent in French, and she's a Gemini who will be turning 30 soon.
A Gemini. Nice. All right. along those lines, you're talking about a teenager. I've talked about another show, Harry Wild, which has Jane Seymour. It's over on Acorn, and her side character was a teenager who, whatever, got there. And then this has been going on there in fourth season. I assume this guy was now supposed to be like in his mid 20s, his character, because the actor who plays him is 30.
Oh.
But in the first episode just dropped whatever a couple weeks ago. He's supposed to be 18 on the show. And I'm like, wait, what? So anyone who watches Harry Wild, let me know what you think of Fergus being actually in real life 30 years old playing an 18. Like I think they could have written it. Whatever. Whole side note, that's a whole nother conversation. Let's move on to what are we doing? Oh, trivia. All right. So this is going back, if people want to get a whole bunch of trivia, listen to one of our previous episodes with our conversations with John Christian Plummer. But he shared that this script was brought to him and he did basically a whole rewrite of it. They brought it and it was like right at the last minute. It originally was called Murder 101 and then he renamed it the Mystery 101.
Well, you couldn't do Murder 101 because that was Dick
That's
Van Dyke's.
that's what it was originally called and he
How
changed
could
it.
you do that?
I
Because,
don't know.
huh?
I'm not
Would there be copyright?
as much as I try to be a Hallmark executive, they have not hired me.
Interesting. But
Okay.
I feel like there
But
would be copyright.
one of his big things with the rewrite was, and this is what he does kind of consistently with his mysteries, was Eldon originally was just a greedy dude who wanted the money, stole the plant, and sold it. And then he rewrote it and gave him that sympathy of no, he had a son with cancer. But at the end of the day, he killed two people. So I think that's pretty darn harsh and was trying to kill a third. So how nice he actually is, I don't know. I think people would turn to a lot of other things before they turn to double homicide. But originally, he was just a greedy dude.
Hallmark and chill. This one, Murder She Wrote, season 5, episode 15, Alma Mater. Jessica is summoned to her old alma mater when one of her college professors confesses to a murder Jessica believes he didn't really commit. So, fun one. I haven't seen that in a while. When I was trying to figure out which one I should do, I was like, oh, I got to rewatch this one. I do recall it because the old college professor, he would have been my character pick for my old guys that I always end up picking. So,
Speaking of oh no, it wasn't Murder 101. We had the comment of someone in there who said, "Oh, the what's the show with the Dick Van Dyke one? That's
Diagnosis Murder?
yeah." Someone said, "Oh, they ended up watching it because you always talk
Yes.
about it,
Well, yeah,
and
because I had mentioned it on
they
my
actually
Instagram.
liked it."
I know. I
So
had shared my 90s one on Instagram. If anyone does like 90s country, the Diagnosis Murder, I don't remember what the episode now is called, but it's got all the 90s star and it was like a CMA award. So they actually have performances like Reba sang live and Billy Ray Cyrus is on there.
you're not doing much to
Like
sell the
Travis
episode.
Tritt. Well, for country, old school country music fans,
Okay.
like these are like your 90s stars. So it actually is a really fun episode. And somebody else said they are not big on like the medical side of like they don't like that side, like the ERs or where it's really intense in the hospital. Diagnosis Murder is very light on the hospital setting. It is much more heavier on the cozy mystery side of things. So if you don't like that, in the field, in the hospital doing stuff. Plus, when this originally started, the hospital is a really small town feel, which I really like because they actually dealt with that, the expansion of hospitals and the monetization that is now happening because of, insurance. They actually kind of address that in this show. So it's an interesting show. I do really love it. It is one of my favorite go-to cozies along with Murder She Wrote. So highly recommend if you haven't checked it out.
Question for you: how old was Angela Lansbury when she started Murder She Wrote?
59.
Yes, and I just looked it up the other day because I was like thinking she had to be older. I'm going to be 59 soon, and
That's because that's how I mean, if you look at Golden Girls too,
I
like their
know.
ages compared to like the
There's
Sex
always
and
a
the
thing
City
of
gals.
like, okay, yeah, the Golden Girls, and that's like the big Gen X thing. Like, oh, I'm the age of Golden Girls now. But Murder She Wrote, she looks 150, and I'm
No,
right
she was the
about to
same
be
age
her
as the
age.
Golden Girls. There, no, it's just how people like. My grandma had a perm in her probably late 40s, early 50s. It was just what women did back then until we kind
Yeah.
of were like, no, let's take this back. Let's change the way
Yes.
we age.
Well, what spurred this was I saw this picture. Someone did a post, and it was taken from the like early 70s, and it was like a group of women who were in their late 40s. And yes, they look like today, and because people I think age differently and dress differently and present differently, but they looked like they were in their 80s, and they were like 46 to 49 years old. It was crazy. All right, moving on. We're Hallmark and chilling, right?
Yes.
I will say I talked about it the other day, Castle. I think this has kind of a castle thing only because you've got the literary person who pairs up with a detective to go off and solve crimes and all that. So you get that. But I also think Mystery 101 fans are probably Curious Caterer fans. And if they're like if it's gone Mystery 101, so I think they probably transitioned the people who have moved on, a lot of people who have not, but I think if they moved on, Curious Cater's probably the one that fits most, which is not a surprise because if you think of where it started, John Christian Plummer wrote the first two episodes, right, and then developed those characters who then have moved on. So I think that's just the case.
All right. Well, next week we are staying with Mystery 101, whether you like it or not. And I'm talking to the listeners. We're gonna do
They all do.
Playing Dead, Playing Dead. Now we'll see. Again, I do remember I one of these movies, I was like, okay, fine, I guess. If you're gonna give us more of these, I started to turn on it. I don't remember which movie, so stay tuned to figure out which movie that is.
All right, here's the thing you have to look forward to. We get Steve Basic and we get Aaron Cahill.
In
We
Playing
got
Dead.
no, but
Oh,
in
that's
later episodes.
I thought it was this
I
next
think
movie that we got him. I
Steve
was like,
Basic's
well,
I think Steve Basic's third, Aaron Cahill's
she's not
fifth.
till later, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, okay. All hate
woo!
mail goes to Andrea, even if you like
Sorry. Sorry.
Graham Winslow. That
What? No, send that to
Andrea made me
Eric.
say that. I didn't want to.
No. What? No.
Okay, Andrea.
Gosh.
It's time to say good night. I'll talk to you
Bye.
next time. Bye. This podcast was created by fans for fans and is not affiliated with or sponsored by Hallmark or the Hallmark Channel.